He was called in by Russ as a driver with terrific political instincts. He instinctively knew where to go and how to get there. Evan could hack his way through any tight squeeze. Evan eventually joined the crazies at the YR club meetings on Friday afternoons and our after-hour bar meetings. He met us at the all-night session meetings. He was always at somebody's house. He helped us with the martinis, the Manhattans, and the singers. And soon, I turned to scotch and water, rum and tonic, bourbon and water. Some of us drank beer when there was nothing else to drink. Evan repeated the stories Mike already told us about the Old Friends, an unofficial national nickname for the Goldwater guru and his loyal campaign workers. Crazies loved the late night stories from Mike and Evan. We were fascinated by this newfound political power tool called the conservative movement. Evan gave all the credit for former financing of the liberal movement to Rockefeller. Rocky financed a publication titled Old Friends. It was a booklet written and financed by Rocky and the Scranton Liberals, produced as a kind of a get-back attempt to embarrass the conservatives as Goldwater's failed old friends. It was intended by the Liberals as an expose of conspiratorial Goldwater conservatives as failed politicians. In reality, it was at the next YR convention, it turned out to be their rallying cry. We miscalculated. Everyone in the YR movement wanted to be considered an old friend of Barry Goldwater. Evan's primary day job in Delaware during the actual day was working for Larry Sullivan at the Register of Wills office. Then after work at night, driving and organizing and planning and scheming for Russ Peterson, hurrying to finish the day, then racing off to the Brandywine racetrack with Wes Johnson for the 5th race. Evan was a delightful crazy. He had an infectious smile, a brilliant sense of humor, and a white eyebrow that always had to be colored in with a dark eyebrow pencil. Everyone broke his balls about it all the time, especially Wes. He called Evan a fucking turkey every time he got a chance. Imagine our guru and chief strategist, our national YR campaign manager, a fucking turkey. Ingredient 3. We needed the old friends. Amassing $70,000 in gold allowed the Delaware Wrecking Crew to take off weekends. That was our nickname, by the way, given to us by all the national young Republicans. We were the Delaware Wrecking Crew. We took off weekends flying across the country. That's the only time state young Republican conventions were held. State YR conventions elect delegates to the national YR convention. National conventions elect treasurers, and treasurers eventually run for chairman. Yes, we had to campaign at all of them. You get it yet? Evan built the strategy. He said it will take a minimum of 3 years, Tommy. We covered 30 states in 9 months. Kay hated the whole deal. She thought young Republicans were all nuts. She thought the women were bizarre. Evan and Larry were single. So were most of the young Republican ladies. The entire national YR campaign was nicknamed by our opposition, the Delaware Wrecking Crew, as I already mentioned. We became affectionately known by that name throughout the country. Talk about ball breaking. The crazies had to carry their gonads in wheelbarrows. They took their gonads to any contest, took on any competitor, took on any side in any state, in any slate. We were in a hotel room, we took on any bedroom, and in any manner, in any way, sexually, economically, politically, or just plain arguing right-wingers down into the ground late at night with hilarious jokes and pure common sense. Against unbelievable odds, we were winning. The National YR Convention came. I won in the first round by 1 vote on the convention floor during a very tense roll call. The glorious state of Alabama casts its vote for Tommy Little. That started it. A right-wing warrior from Chicago strangled a reluctant Southern delegate on the convention floor. so he wouldn't switch his vote. That's how we got Alabama. This wasn't cheating. It was pure excitement and adventure. The delegate was paid by the crazies to go to the convention, and then he took money from the other side not to vote. Choking is a reasonable way of making someone cough up a paid-for vote when their name is called. And so, how did we pull off the win? In a shocking turn of events, a few months before the convention vote, a former Iowa judge and well-known conservative took over running the entire convention campaign. He was Clifton White's closest vote counter and political operative known as the Judge. I recruited him, and he became the new guru. His name was Ed Phelan. And he became the new guru behind the Little People campaign. Surprised? Whoever said the Delaware czars were stupid. Here's how it actually happened. I was seriously hurt in a badly disabling knee injury in a judo workout at the Ishikawa Judo Club in Philly. That one right there. It was at the very beginning of our YR venture, right after the pep talk from Mike. And while lying on the couch reading 3505, then leafing through the booklet published by About Old Friends, I suddenly saw the name of a real old friend, listed as a footnote, about a super secret Patrick Henry Society, and it totally shocked me. I had been traveling to Ishikawa twice a week to watch Dickie train for the Pan American Games and to help as cannon fodder for our national team in training. I got hurt acting as cannon fodder. All judoka need to throw, and especially before major contests, and they shouldn't be thrown because they might get injured. So cannon fodder is a privilege of lesser known guys and lesser belts. The only requirement was to show up and be thrown, kind of like the first wave in any military invasion. One night in Philly, I bowed to a young Japanese black belt about my size from San Jose College in California. He seized hold, we grappled, he took a step backward, and I threw him with a double foot sweep. He got up, he grinned politely, and I remember absolutely nothing after that. Next thing I knew was Ishikawa's kind face bending over, staring down at me, and saying to Dickie, "He won't be back." And before that night, my judo was getting weak anyway. I trained half-heartedly. I wasn't taking training seriously anymore. The sport was now locked deeply in my psyche, and I knew the knee injury was just about the end of it for me. From here on in, my fights had to be totally mental. So I looked forward to the fight at the YR National Convention as my major source of excitement to replace judo as my primary source of adrenaline. That's about where my head was at. And when I recognized my old friend's name in the footnote in the booklet I was reading, I screamed loudly to the other room, "Kay, you won't believe who's in the Patrick Henry Society." "You got that right. Who cares?" "It's Pappy." Now the next chapter is titled Chapter 16, Who's Our Pappy?